And yes, let's do this. We have including Dr. Chimsom. Dr. Chimsom is streaming live all the way from Enugu, Nigeria. And she's going to be sharing on her intentional parenting journey. I am excited. I'm speaking to Dr. Chimsom for the first time. So yes, as you're going to be hearing her journey, I'm going to also be hearing her journey. It's going to be really interesting. I already can say. In fact, when she said let's do it and it's Enugu, I was like, oh, yeah. Enugu is one of my favorite cities in Nigeria. Do you know that? My mom grew up in Enugu, and we visited Enugu so often that it was as if I knew Enugu more than where I grew up. All righty. Welcome here, Dr. Chimsom. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate the opportunity to come and share my story, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So we are going to get right into it. You have Dr. Chimsom here. Dr. Chimsom, talk to us. How did you get here? How did you become a younger?
Okay, Coach, I have a very interesting story, actually, very funny story. Wow. Just to give a background, I stay in Enugu. I work in Enugu, and my husband lives in a different state. And I stay in my parents' house in Enugu. So we try to like shuffle, and then on holidays, the kids go to spend time with their dad and all. So I started my residency, and I was in this place where I was the Indabuski yeller. I used to yell. Oh my God. My daughter was 6 at the time. My son was 4. And one day I was going through someone's WhatsApp status. Actually, this person is supposed to be my old girl, like my senior in secondary school. And I saw her status. She said, oh, don't beat your children. You know, I think it was something from one of your posts. And I was like, I attacked her. Like, I went for her. I was like, oh, you people, you want to deceive us. You do like white people. That's why white children are so spoiled. Blah, 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 blah. Like, we had back and forth. And I can be very persuasive. Like, I can be very pushy. And by the time I finished arguing with her, she was like, okay, let's just leave it like that since you don't want to believe me. And me, I felt I had won. So now, my daughter is quite strong-willed. And at that time, when I come back from work, I will shout from the door till I get upstairs. Then I had cane, that's bula bula. Bula bula. Everywhere. I had one in the car. I'm saying my daughter was 6.
Wow.
6. I wasn't necessarily maybe flogging her that much, but I was using it to scare her. So it got to a point where when I'm shouting at my daughter, she's looking at me like, do your worst. And you know, when you get to that point where you're shouting, there's no that place to go. Like, you don't know what else to do because the child is looking at you and saying, after shouting, what next? This girl was 6. So I started becoming frustrated. I now started like looking for what to do in her school. I think they used to give her stars and all. I was like, okay, let me try it where I was going to walk, but I would make her, you know, do what I asked her to do. And I tried it at first. It was like, okay, if I don't give her a star, she won't do anything. So it was like I was paying her to do the thing she had to do. So I became frustrated and actually said, God help me, because I didn't know what to do next. I didn't know how to handle the issues I was having. Then randomly, I don't know, I can't remember where, I now saw is it from yelling to calm challenge. At that time it was 3K. When I saw it, even when I saw it, I was like, what does this person want to come and tell me now? Let me even just see what she wants to say. I don't know. I was like, you just let me just see what. As I entered a skeptic, I was like, let's just listen and see all these people. Let me just see. You know, in my inner self actually wanted a solution. Maybe that's why I even skeptically registered. You get what I'm saying? So I registered. And then in that course, you were saying something. You said, as at that time, I had a problem with my kids. They'll start to eat by 2 in the afternoon. And they'll be eating the same food till 7, 8. With all my shouting and beating, they're still eating the same food. So I think in that particular course, you said that your children, that when they were smaller, they used to tell them to, if they don't finish their food, they pack it and eat it the next day. So I said, let me try what this woman is saying. And I came and told my daughter, you know what, for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to shout. I'm not going to, get angry at you, nothing. And my daughter said, okay. So now I try not to shout, not to get angry. And then I told them that if you eat, if I'll give you 15 minutes. If you don't finish, I will pack the food and you continue at the next meal. And I always made sure that the next meal was something that they really liked. And I started doing it. You know that 2 weeks later, the girl I live with came and told me, Auntie, that do I know what my daughter told her? My daughter told her that she doesn't like the new mommy. She said, but mommy is not beating you now, she's not shouting. She said, that now when mommy says something, she does it. I was like, Lord of Jesus Christ, this girl was sick. So I was like, hey. And I asked myself, wait. You know, when you're shouting, I was like, I will kill you, I will do this one. And you never do that. Do you understand? And these children are watching you. And I was like, hey? So I think that's when it dawned on me. I just went and booked a slot. And after I booked a slot, you know, I had attacked somebody, remember, for the same thing. So I did not have the mind to go back to the person. So I tell, oh, I've agreed with this thing you're saying, no. Let me see whether I'm going to work. It took a lot of humility for me to go back to her. And I said, okay, I have done though. So when I finally told her, was when you started doing those posters, I started posting, I was like, she will soon see this poster on Coach's status. So, and I went to go and send her the poster. I was like, oh, I have registered. So I'm grateful that she did. So that's how I joined. That's how I joined the yard.
Amazing. This is an interesting story. Most times I was listening to someone talk about being highly intellectual and it being a barrier to learning. And most times, because you read so much, that's one of the things I'm always very conscious of. Because you read so much, you know so much, you're going to be at that place where when somebody tells you something, you're like, well, what are you talking about? So, do you know how much I have read? This guy, who I be kind of thing? And it's very funny that we decided to do a survey last year, all right? And part of our survey, the inner circle, was that we found out that one of the most prominent careers of inner circle parents in the medical system, and the highest stake was the doctor. And I was like, okay, what's happening? Why? And I'm still trying to figure it out. We'll come there later while we are where. But the interesting is that very many of the times most times we're in that place. So that's why when inner circle parents complain, as I've been talking to this person tell me, I say, don't worry, calm down. It's just that sometimes when my mom come back to you to say nothing you said was right. It happened with a family member. 1 year later, he didn't know how to come. He didn't know how to come to me. He didn't know how to do it. One of those days, just said, let me try this thing that you say. You give me this book. Let me use it. When I do that, my gospel permeated the heart, which was very perfect. So sometimes we're actually speaking. We're actually, doing the things that we need to do. We're doing all of the things. We're pushing. We're trying to, and then we get angry that the people we're pushing to are not listening to us. But when you think back about yourself, you realize that you were not a very good, convertible, apostle, whatever it is. It's so easy to come from this point now where you're not doing it. You're like, no, nobody, they're not listening. I've been talking to them. They're not, it's not true. They are actually listening. I think I like the start of this conversation. You're watching Dr. Chimsom Ogo. She's streaming live all the way from Enugu, Nigeria. I told you that I have an affinity to Enugu. And my mom grew up in Enugu. In fact, I remember when my mom, actually the street my mom grew up in. It's in Owani, 16 Okozu, right? Yes, it's Nowani, 16 Okozu. It's still there. We still visit there. We know the compound. It's actually very interesting. Alrighty. So yes, and she's streaming live and telling her story. She said when she joined, the first thing she saw was that she had a fight. She started with a fight. She came with a fight. Please, where is that person you fought with? Please, can you bring the person? The person deserves some hug, because I can imagine how much that fight, as in, I'm just imagining the fight right now. I'm just imagining, you know, this fight now. How could it have been? All righty. So we have, thank you so much, Comfort. I see you guys. I see you, Mr. Moses Oridendi. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Elsie. Thank you, Madam Taiwo. Thank you. I see you guys watching all the way from Moravia. I see you, Bama. Thank you for joining us. All right, so Dr. Chimsom, over to you. Tell us, after you have fought, after this, your fight must be very legendary. After you have fought for many, you know, hours and won, according to you, you thought you won. Tell us, as you entered the inner circle, after you finished all of that, what was the first thing that struck you? What was that very first thing that, you know, that got you to a point where you were like, where have I been? Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, a lot of things struck me at first. One of them was the fact that I had to create family values and a media plan. Now, I felt that the media was my child's friend. I was one of those people that, you know, I keep my child in front of TV and, you know, go and do other things. And I started my residency when my child was, my baby was 2 months. So I had this nanny, and from the beginning, she just sits in front of the TV with my baby. So when you said, okay, no TV, reduce screen time, I was like, but they're learning something from the TV, you know, that kind of thing. What is man even saying? But because I'm a medical person, I went to do some kind of research, and I actually found that there were actually issues associated with the screen. So I now decided to actually try and implement it. And I also understood that some issues that I had later on, which I'll come to later, were actually due to the effect on the screen. And then when you said parenting is about you, I was like, why is she blaming me? These children they don't need to hear a word. That was my first reaction. But the truth is that with time, I have come to realize that it's really about me, because I now know that I'm a mentor, and my children should actually be able to look up to me. And if I want to change, I have to actually be that change. Because just something as little as my daughter say, oh, I tell her, make your bed when you wake up. She said, but mommy, you're not making your bed. So, and we are fighting about it. But I realized that I started making my bed. It was no more issue with time. And then I said, oh, go and read your book. I started reading more, and she was seeing me. And in fact, we had a challenge. I was like, you know what? If you read so and so number of books still, so and so number of time, more than I do, and then I'll give you something, you know. And I saw her reading more, someone that didn't used to like to read. So I could see the effect of me changing myself first before focusing on my children. So that was what struck.
Amazing, amazing. The first thing was that I could see the change for myself before it even became a change for my own children. One of the things that I usually say is that if you actually do want a change, you will, you know, um, um, also change, you know, people, you know, by changing you. So most times we're actually very focused on the next person. You know, so somebody reached out to me and was talking about our husband many years ago. And I said, can you leave your husband and come and even see whether there's something wrong with you, so that you can not leave the man first. See whether there's something wrong with you, deal with it. And it's not about the man, really. Just, you know, deal with it. It's not about the marriage. Leave the marriage first. Deal with you. You're like, no, I'm not the problem. It is this man. I said, okay, it's fine. 2 years later, she joined the inner circle, joined the masterpiece. She sent me a chat, and she said, you see that thing you said that time? I'm actually the problem. I said, you're the problem. Wow. So what are we going to do about it now? So that means we need to start working on you. And you know, it was very, she said it was a moment of, it was a sober moment that it took her time to realize that I also have a problem. Why do I think I need to be blaming someone? And yet I have a problem. So anytime that you hear parenting is about you and you fight it, you have a problem. That's one thing I realized. You have a problem because you don't want to turn the searchlight towards you. And most times, because we've been raised in hypocrisy, we have a problem with dissecting ourselves. We are afraid to know what is inside. We are afraid to really ask questions about who we are. So we prefer to leave that, let's just cover it. Let just everybody is just going to be all right. Why do I want to unsettle things? I'm already okay, and we I think we get deceived with um achievement, career achievement. We leave the inner man, right? And we're focused on career achievement. So, after all, I'm a doctor, I'm a professor, I'm a son. Why do I need, as in, I've already attained the height of life. So, my not, problem is not all this touching myself. No, I'm okay. And that's why that very favorite quote in Nigeria, I turned out okay. And then when you actually look at that, okay, I keep asking, are we really okay? Most times you find out that we're not. It's just that we have been afraid over the years to confront who we are. Most of us we don't know who we are. We can't confront who we are. We are afraid of who we are. And especially for those of us who are trophy children, we grew up with accolades. Oh, you are the best in class. Oh, you are the top in class. Oh, you are this. So you don't want to unsettle yourself. So I was writing in that book, Raising the Trophy Child. There are a lot of parts of you don't want to open up. You don't want to, let me just live in that euphoria of my congratulations and my celebrations. Why do I need to have a challenge? After all, nobody have ever told me that I have a challenge. So you live in that light. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're sharing my intentional parenting journey with Dr. Chimsom Ogo, sharing and streaming all the way from Enugu, Nigeria. Dr. Chimsom, I want you to share with us, how has the inner circle helped you, your children, your marriage, your career, your spiritual life, whichever angle you want to take it from. We're all here for it. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Coach. So I want to say something concerning you being the problem. Like, I said I was a yeller, I used to beat, I used to do all that. And then as I got into the inner circle, I now came to understand that my daughter was exhibiting those things. Like, she didn't know how to resolve conflict. She goes to school, and she has actually fought a teacher before in school. She has fought a teacher in school before, and her brother does something, she doesn't think, she just shouts, she beats him. That's the next thing. Before I used to get angry, but now I understand that it was my fault. It was what I taught her. It was what I was showing her. That's how she knew how to resolve conflict. Yeah. So I came to take accountability for the issues that I had already caused. And we are gradually getting better. In fact, she had issues in school because her teachers always complain she doesn't get along well with her classmates. She wasn't patient. Once anybody annoys her, but now I'm getting better reports. She's getting along better, and it is a beautiful thing to watch. Then for myself, inner circle has changed me a lot. I'll start with my self-confidence. Now I am someone that I have a gift. I can motivate people. I can make you do something. Like, I can bring people together and push them. But it was just among my family members, my friends, close friends, those that I was too afraid to actually come out. And when I say show my extra, let me put it that way, shine my light. So, but being in the inner circle helped me gain insights on some things and have the courage to pursue knowledge outside my field. So, for example, when I was in medical school, I used to read a lot. I used to read novels and all. But somehow when I got into medical school, I just stopped. I had the will to read, but I just did it. I don't know whether I was trauma or something. Maybe I used to associate reading with stress, maybe because of the school and all. But my first year in the yard, I wasn't reading. I didn't do all things I was supposed to do. But somehow, it has made me start to try to gain knowledge. I have started reading more, which I'm very happy, because I used to buy books. Like, I was one of those people that had a lot of books in my shelf. I'll see them because I know I should be reading. I will buy and keep, and I'll never read them. But now I can see myself reading more, and it's fascinating because now when I go to speak, I found out that I've started speaking at events. People invite me to speak. Coach, I know I told you about it once, and it's fascinating. And when I finish speaking, from even most times you hear me say something, Coach said, Coach, I've been copying you. So you hear me something that she said, some things I learned from the webinar. And when I finish, people are like, wow, wow. And they're like, oh, I wanted to be my mentor. And I'm like, yeah, me, Amy, just like that. Like I'm shocked. Like I can't, like, I'm going places that I wouldn't have had the courage to, go to. Like, I'm able to step out. So it actually helped me understand who I am and how I have a gift that I'm actually supposed to step out and share with the world. Now, it also made me more empathic to people because now when people do some things, I don't look at them and I'm like, I understand where they're coming from. Like, I'm like, okay, let's look at it this other way. So it has really helped me. Then for my kids, my son especially, like I said earlier, my son, from when he was 2, he was in front of the screen. So he watched TV all the time. And then his teachers, when he started school, teachers would complain, oh, he doesn't like to write, he doesn't like to do this, he doesn't like to do that. And I was like, why are you not writing? Why don't you, I'll pay school fees, you not write? Why? He didn't like to write. And I didn't understand what the problem was until I attended the learning style course. And it dawned on me, I'm a doctor, I'm supposed to know these things. Yes, I'm supposed to know this. And it dawned on me that when my daughter was little, I was at home for the first year. Yeah, she was watching TV, but I used to play with her. We used to interact. But my son just used to sit in front of the TV. He didn't play. So at the course, I came to learn that he had not even developed fine motor skills because he didn't get the chance to, play with toys, do this, do that. So he couldn't hold a pen. So it wasn't that he didn't want to write. He couldn't hold the pen. And even when he now started holding the pen, the way some schools are, they write things on the board. And I realized he was a kinesthetic, mostly kinesthetic, and then auditory learner. And when he looks at the board and all the things, and then he'll be like, Mommy, it's too much. I'll be like, so it made me understand better. So it helped me know what to do. So I had to start from the scratch. Like, I had to teach him beading. We started from beading, from drawing on sand, all those things. And last term, if you had seen his writing at the first term and his writing at the end of the term, you won't believe he's the same person. Like, yes, he's still on a journey. He's still not fast. He's still, growing. But it was drastic, and he was so happy because he got an award for the best improved pupil in school. So I am grateful for that, and I'm really happy. Then my daughter too, she has come a long way. She has started to study. Like, it trips me when she just gets up and she says, oh, like she represented her school in a maths competition. This is someone that was struggling in school initially, and doing a maths competition, she get up by 5 and say, Mommy, I want to study. And I was like, yeah? Are these the same people we were talking about before? I was like, she was able to win a maths competition in her school. Her academics was wonderful. Like, because I implemented the whole puzzles. I spent money on puzzles and all those. I got a piano teacher, all those things, telling me to swim, and I could see the difference. The truth is that we're not where we want to be yet, but like you say, it's a journey. So we are growing and we are becoming better. Thank you, Coach.
Amazing. Who had that part? When she said that her daughter, who used to struggle with school, is now representing her school in math, and it's now there's something that is very, very, prominent in the inner circle. Is the children doing math well? It's a standard thing, right? Because we've cracked the code. Your child will be taught. Math is the easiest and the simplest thing to do, and it's just because it's just to be able to actually know the logic behind it, to be able to understand what it is that a child needs to do, you just see your child just escalate from back to front in mathematics, and you're wondering, what happened? Yes, that's part of the magic of the inner circle. We will not tell you. Come in. When you come in, we tell you. Alrighty. And of course, she also mentioned, Dr. Chito, when she was speaking, meanwhile, Dr. Chito, I can see your people. I can see people shouting, Chief, we're here. Not in the comment section. Shout out to you guys. Your chief is on a hot seat right now. Right now, we are the one, we are the one with your chief. So leave her. And when she was speaking, one of the things that she said was, I'm a doctor. I am supposed to know. And that's one of the things that keeps us, back. You just look at yourself, you're like, but I'm this person. I already should know. But you find out that, so I was sharing yesterday about Obama. And I said, you need someone who to hold you accountable to say this thing. You might know it though, but do you even remember that you know it? Sometimes you don't remember you know that thing. This thing that she's sharing now about cognitive and all of that is something that you learn in medical school. Yes, but when you finish learning it, can you really apply it when your children now grow? That's the problem. When you now have children, you're not looking at, you will even remember it. You would be in your clinic, trying to do all the things that you need to do and all of that. But you actually will not really remember that this thing is part of what it is that we should do. And there was something she actually also said. She said, you come out of medical school, you don't want to read. Who can relate? Many people can relate on that table because you read so much. You just read to pass. Let me just get out of this thing and just make sure that I become this person. Really, you come out like I beg everything about reading. Let me just face this thing. You actually stop developing yourself. In quotes, you actually do stop, and it happens to a lot of trophy people. You get to a point where you've been pushed, you've been stretched, and you've achieved most accolades, and then you come out, you're like, what? I don't think I need all of this, and I will just be fine. But unfortunately, right? Somebody said my husband hates reading. He's a doctor. Yes, I get it. It's a trauma that comes with medical school. You're literally traumatized with reading, and then when you actually come out, and then you're like, I beg anything reading, I don't want to hear it. Let me just, look at how I'm going to push and all of that. So you get so you're pressured. So when you now come out, it's not something that you're not dealing with. Now, Dr. Chimsom said one of the things that have happened to me is she's done so much for somebody who has moved. She's like Paul the Apostle. Do you know Paul the Apostle? Paul the Apostle who fought Jesus. And then when Paul got converted, Paul carried the gospel on the head. Hey, this gospel, if you are not here, you are dead. I'm just imagining how Paul was able to do it from Saul to Paul. So Dr. Chimsom is sounding like from Saul to Paul. After I think when it's the person you fought, we need to go and give the person a hug. Because I'm just imagining how much you fought this person. And right now, the person should please take your flowers wherever you are. Thank you so much for posting that thing on your status. I say it all the time. It might just be one thing you posted on your status, and Dr. Chimsom said, I started posting on status, so I had to go back and tell the person, me, I have joined these people so that he will not come and say. And honestly speaking, that's one of the things that happens to you when you catch the light, when you catch the fire. And Dr. Chimsom was also saying that it has also made me build my self-confidence. Now, let me say something about that. Many of us who think that we have attained some height, I'm a doctor, I'm a smart person, I'm the best in my class, actually think that that's self-confidence. It's not. Sometimes you are actually all that, but you're not confident about yourself. And she said something very profound. She said, I've been able to actually stand up. I know that I have extras. Yesterday we had a session on the skill of extras. Yada, shout out to you. Are you guys still surviving? If you are still surviving, say, you will survive. You will survive because next week you have another one that is coming. So better run with it. And she said, she was afraid to actually, shine her light. But The inner circle, sometimes she tells me some things. I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah. And the inner circle makes you, it breaks you forth from the mold. You're no longer in the mold. You're no longer afraid. You're no longer afraid to come out and actually say, yes, this is what it is that I know, irrespective of what it is, that is there. So you are able to push, you are able to move, you are able to actually stretch. And that's one of the things that happens to you in the yard. Apart from your children, you become that person that people will now begin to look at. Because we say that in your light, people shall see light. That's the whole idea. Can people see light in your light? Can people see light in your light? Alrighty. Thank you so much, Dr. Chimsom, for joining us. Dr. Chimsom, we still have here streaming all the way from the comment section. She has not told me she's a dermatologist, but from the comment section, I've already seen your people. They are just everywhere. Dr. Chimsom, the dermatologist. Hey, she's the finest dermatologist. Omo, ma, take your flowers. You have your people around you. And I was looking at the comment section and I saw Mr. Moses already there. And Mr. Moses is also one of those apostles, Saul turned Paul. You know those people? So, as in, now he's the real Paul. Shout out to you, sir. Shout out to you. Of course, you know that I honor you. Thank you for being here. We have many Saul turned Paul in the inner circle today. And he said, I'm having a seat, around here. And I spoke to her about here, but she's listening to me live. And that's it, on a live show. Thank you so much. And hey, seatmate, we look forward to having you in the inner circle. Talk to us, Dr. Chimsom. What will be your top 3 webinars? Why would they be your top 3 webinars? And what did they do to you?
Okay, thank you, Coach. Now, this is a hard question because I would have like 10 webinars on my mind. But let me try and, shorten. Okay, so I'll say number 1 is how to teach your children friendship and relationship skills. Now, that webinar, when I was listening to it, there was something you said at that webinar, and you said, you talked about the story of the man that his friends. Hello, can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that the man had to break the roof. His friends had to break the roof to let him down so that he could be healed. And then you said something, you called them, you said, do you have breaking roof friends? And that just struck me. I asked myself, do you have breaking roof friends? Yes, I have actually. But the problem is that my friends, from university that I'm really close to are all in different states. They're not close to me. Then there was also another webinar where you talked about how you could actually create an environment where your children can thrive with people that have the same values. And now I started thinking to myself, that was in my first year. I think that's when I got that Rema. In my first year in the inner circle, I was alone. I didn't know anybody around me. I didn't know anybody that was in the yard with me. So I wasn't very consistent. And I told you I like to motivate people. And I think that helps me motivate myself. So I thought to myself, why don't I consciously create that environment around me where my children can actually mix, interact, and be with people that have the same kind of mindset like I do, are learning from the same place I'm learning. So what did I do? I went to my friends. I pushed them, and I convinced them. And I think I had like 5 of them in Enugu here join the inner circle. And then they brought their own friends that they found out were in the yard. And then we had created a small accountability group where we do our own book reviews, even though we're not that consistent, but we do book reviews. We organize play dates. Our kids get to meet each other. So I'm trying to consciously create that environment. And there are people that when I talk to, they get where I'm coming from. So we can have a conversation. I can get advice. Like we kind of support each other. So it's a new relationship that I just created, and I'm loving it. So that's what that webinar did for me. And then the second one is creating the transcended family dynamics. Now, Coach, I will tell you that you're inside my house. What do I mean? Most times, whenever I have a problem or something bothering me, I listen to a voice note or a webinar, and I feel like you're talking to me, like you've come with the solution I need. Let me give you an example. Like I'm speaking at today is the International Day for the Girl Child, and I'm speaking at an event today, and I was supposed to be talking about building confidence despite doubt. That's what I'm supposed to talk about. I had made my slides and gotten ready, but I wasn't feeling the slides like that. Then next thing on Monday, you came with your voice notes, and I was like, hey, this woman will not kill me. And then it was about building confidence in your children, and there were some things you said that actually made my presentation clearer to me, made it easier for me to make some corrections and adjustments to my presentation. Then for that webinar, at the time I had that webinar, I was in a bad place. I was about to make a decision that would have been bad. Let me put it that way, would have spoiled a lot of things in my life. But I had talked to a friend, a very close friend about it, somebody I usually confide in, and she had been begging me, oh, don't make this decision you want to make. It's not going to be good for you. It's not good for your family and all. And then I was like, I'm stubborn, shy, but I was like, nothing. I made up my mind. Nothing. I'm going to do this thing. Nothing. And so that day, I don't know. I just joined the webinar. I can remember the day. I think it was 12 September. I joined the webinar. And you start talking. The next night, I started crying. It was like, like you were talking about extending grace, and then trying to understand people from where they are coming from. And that was what I needed at the time. That was just what I needed. So that webinar is special to me because it helped me avoid making a big mistake in my life. So that's why I picked it as one of my favorite webinars. Then, okay, so the next one I'll talk about is not a webinar. Okay, the back to school masterclass. I love that because I used to be a backbencher parent. Like I told you, I will come late when it's PTA. If I come very late. I sit at the back. I don't want to be noticed. But after that webinar, I told myself, you're going to do better. You're going to be in front. You're going to show yourself. So my showing myself actually started in my kids' school, because the next one of my friends actually joined the inner circle because of my show self at one of the PTA meetings in the school. So I started asking questions, giving answers to other people's questions, and the girl was like, where are you learning all this? And I was like, come, let me carry you. Let's be good. Come and join me. So from there, the school was there inviting me to speak, and I think that's where that all started. So it was able to help me find my voice, find myself, and understand that I had the power to change things in my kids' school, because it's important, because like you said, they are parenting with us. So we have to actually be conscious of how they do it, what they do it, and how we can be of help and be of assistance. So since then, I've been in front. I've been moving. So I would say those are my top 3 webinars.
Wow. Top 3 webinars. We usually say that the inner circle will meet you at the point of your need. Everybody will share their top 3 from this way is doing me, as in me like this sha. This where my own problem is coming from. That, and this is where. So when the webinar comes to, somebody said to me yesterday, he said, Coach, there's no other webinar. The only webinar is the one of yesterday. Every other one is. I said, don't worry. That's how you will stay for the next one too. The next one. I said. She said no. She said because it spoke directly to me. It's I think that's the only thing I've heard this year. Most times you find out that God will just use that you're supposed to listen to. Dr. Chimsom was saying I was going to make a decision. I remember that day, we were trying to actually explain extending grace. When we actually talk about extending grace, people would say, oh, I'm extending, I've been doing it. But that day, I think the Holy Spirit gave me insight, and I was able to break down what extending grace meant, because it was very obvious. I thought about if a song we sing in the inner circle, if you're in the inner circle, you would have learned extending grace. I will extend grace, I will extend grace. But that day, it was more than just extending grace. It was more of, are you really sure that this your grace you're extending is not toxic? Oh yeah, let's break it down. And I think that he hit a lot of people. He hit home in a lot of quarters. Of course, a lot of the others would always come and say this is it and all of that. And that's what the inner circle webinar does to you. The inner circle webinar touches your soul on its own. You will be able to, on your own, decide. Somebody said, how will you do accountability? I said, don't worry, the accountability is spirit organized. I mean, it will shock you how you will be accountable on your own. You just be looking at yourself, you're like, okay. So it is all the webinars, all the things, all the how it is that it does you, and everybody knows where it's doing them from. Some others will say, I know what is chasing me. So everybody, I know how it is that I'm running. And the webinars in the inner circle, as far as I'm concerned, are literally from God. Because even when you want to teach a simple topic, sometimes my notes, I have my iPad and my notes are there, I've prepared notes. And sometimes I'm stopping at point 1. Everything I will share in the webinar will be point 1. I am not able to go beyond everything that I've shared. And I will come back, I will say, hey, didn't I even share this one? Hey, I would have not shared this one. Why did I not even share this one? And it's as if something holds me bound. Then, when the testimonies now come, I will now realize why I needed to stop where I stopped. So it wasn't me. Left for me, I just want to teach you theory. This guy, this is what you want to do. You wake up, you do this, you do this. But sometimes, God literally just takes over and, just, pulls it up. Yesterday, when we were teaching on the skills of extra, it was the skills of extra. That's not how the skills of extra went last year. By the time I got to a point, I was literally stopped to do some kind of diversion. And that diversion saved souls. I have seen the reviews, I have seen the testimonies, and I know that that's one key aspect of the inner circle. For me, someone said, so in the inner circle, how are you going to do the webinars? I said, don't worry, the webinars, you can't even explain it. Just carry yourself and come. You cannot explain the webinar. You can't explain the words. You can't explain some of the things. I can't even explain it. Somebody, when people are coming in induction, say, show me the curriculum. I'm like, this curriculum is self-made from God to you specifically. Because you might be thinking, this curriculum, I can see what it is. Yeah, we will show you what it is we're going to do through the year. And I'm sure by the time you're traveling to the year, you're wondering, okay. And you're listening to Dr. Chimsom Ogu. And Dr. Chimsom is streaming live from Enugu, Nigeria. And yes, she's sharing on her journey, and she's been able to share so much. There was something she shared that was very, very profound. Did you catch it? She talked about building her own table and putting men on it. Stop fighting to be on tables that you didn't build. Build it. Put men on it. That's how to work. And she said that was one of the things that happened to her when we were sharing about creating systems, friendship. And I said, do you have the roof tearing friends? That's what they are called. People who can actually literally tear the roof open and put you inside if there is something happening. It might not be 10 people. It can be 2 people, but make sure that they can carry you. I call them burden bearers. You are in a place where you're supposed to be doing something. You cannot do it. But somebody bears the burden of you. Every single human being who doesn't have that would actually not be able to get the most of life itself, right? And when the Bible says that 2 are better than 1, it's not just talking about marriages. When the Bible says, when you're lonely, it's not just talking about man and woman. It's also talking about your relationships, right? Somebody said, Dr. Chimsom, you are loved. It's very obvious. Yes, the comment section is buzzing. And then it's buzzing. I even me said, we're like, Dr. Chisom, please take all your flowers. All your people are here, buzzing you, hailing you. All righty. You're listening to Dr. Chisom. Dr. Chisom, tell me, I want you to talk to, a lot of people are listening to you. They're like, you're a medical doctor. You are you're busy. I want to believe that you have a very busy schedule. I can see your people. I can see your troop. It means that you have a very extremely busy schedule, and you have your children. You have you have an impact journey you're building and a wealth. And I want to ask you, how are you able to put all of this in perspective? How are you able to work it? Because a lot of people are listening to you now saying, this is not cycle. Hey, I cannot join. I'm a doctor. I'm a professor. I don't know. I don't have time. How do we say it again? I don't have time. Somebody was asking in the comment section, how do I join the inner circle? The details are right on my screen. It's just, I think Dr. Chisom will speak, on that. Well, since she's now the Paul of our time. What? Dr. Chisom.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. I'll say that it's not very easy, but however, it's doable. Like you say, Coach, you say you make time for what is important. You find ways to balance it all out. Yes, my first year in the inner circle, I was struggling. Let me not just lie. I was struggling. I wasn't able to, keep up. But when I came with my squad, and I was the person supposed to be leading, I had to step up. I had to make time. So what did I do? Now, the webinars, I don't let it stay. Like if it's today on my commute to work, I listen to the webinars. When I get to work, as I'm coming back, I may listen to it again because I actually have a long commute to work. I'm listening to it again, and I pick what I need to pick and I run with it. Then spending time with my kids, I consciously make time because it's easy to walk, and you forget what is most important. The thing about being in the yard is that, and why I'm going to stay in the yard is that, yes, you may feel like you've learned a lot, or I can do it myself, but it's that constant reminder when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, even if you're not as committed in the yard, but you have that consciousness that, now this is what I'm supposed to do. I've not done it, so I've not been doing it. So you can spot when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So, but if you leave, you don't have that conscious, thing probing you. You have not spent time. You're not managing your time well. You're not talking to your children more. Like, things like that. So I consciously make time. The webinar on time management. I had a lot of rema from that one too, because when he talked about the phone, I told myself, phone, and I started looking at how much I spend on phone, and I was like, Lord of Jesus. The truth is that most of us have time. Let's just call it what it is. We have time. You come home, you're on your phone. Your children are playing with you for hours. When you're on the phone, you don't even know when one hour has gone. If you go back to your phone and you check how much time you spend on the phone, you'll be shocked. You'll be so shocked. So after that webinar, I told myself, you know what? I'm going to adjust my phone consumption. I found an app, I downloaded it, that blocks all my distractions at a certain time. So doing that made me more productive, made me have more time to do more things. For example, now I said I now read more, unlike before. So now I make sure to read every day. Maybe even if it's for 30 minutes, I put that in. If it's before, I would have been pressing phone, and that time would have gone, and I won't have gained anything. But come on, sometimes we need to tell ourselves the truth. You have to look inwards. You say, I don't have time. Most of us are not busy. Let us not just lie. If I can say that, we are not busy. We just tell ourselves that we are busy. It makes us feel like we are achieving something, we are doing something. It makes us feel good with ourselves. We are not busy. Check your phone. It will tell you whether you are busy or not busy, because when you're looking at your phone, you're not doing any other thing. You're supposed to be doing something with that time. So if you cannot control your phone usage, I think that's where to start. If you can do that, you can make time. You can make time, because you don't have to see the latest news. You don't have to, follow everybody. You don't have to be on. But yeah, it's good to know what's happening. But yes, but don't be everywhere. Because once you do that, the time you're supposed to spend with your kids, the time you're supposed to make impact, you're going to lose it. The time you're supposed to learn, you're going to lose it. And being with your kids is the most important thing you're supposed to do. Learning is going to help you grow, even help you make more money, make you, shine. So I think it's a fair trade. Drop the phone, make more time. So I think that's what that's what I have to say, Coach.
Wow,
Thank
wow.
you.
I think I like that part. Where Dr. Chimsom said the truth is most of us are not busy. And see, if we want to really be sincere, and this is where self-reflection comes in. Most of us are not really busy. And when people tell me I'm busy, I told someone, I said, can you chronicle what you do in a day for me? She did. It's like a 1% of what I do. But one of the things that happened, she didn't realize, was that there were too many things that were unnecessary inside those things that didn't matter. It didn't matter in her life where she was at a time. Not that it doesn't matter at all. There was something Dr. Chimsom said, news is good. It's not like it's not, it's not a bad thing to check news now. And it's good. But where you are in your life, is that the most important thing? And how can you begin to look at all of that? So the problem is not time. The problem is that we are poor time managers. And I say to inner circle parents, if you cannot manage your time, you can't manage your life. You are managing your life poorly because your time is your life. We don't understand it. That's why we can scroll through phone for 3 hours. Most people scroll through for minimum 4 hours. Go and check your phone. Minimum 4 hours a day. And every time somebody was telling me, coach, how did you write 4 or 5 books in a year? I said, I didn't just write 5. I've actually written over 20 this year. Guides, books, and all of that. I said, how do you do it? He said this same time. I said, I don't scroll on my phone. As much as I work online, sometimes I was telling the person, I said, sometimes I have just 1 hour screen time in total on, different, you go on my Instagram, you see 1 hour screen time total in a day. The moment I begin to do over 1 hour, then there's a problem. You don't create. Social media is an enhancer. So how do I go there? How do I create? It's just to enhance my creativity. So if I'm going to create, then I'm going to see that if you have a problem, put an app that shuts you out. When you scroll and the app will shut out your phone and you keep it. And then you know that, okay, I have exceeded my time. But beyond time management, one of the things that you're going to learn in the inner circle is energy management. Most people, you've heard time management for so long. They've told you need to manage your time. But beyond managing time, it's about energy management and seasons of life. So 2 things, essentialism. So you can't manage time because time is not really your own. You don't have access to it. So, but you can manage your energy and you can manage essentialism. That way, you become you become a guru in achieving in productivity. So most of us are not busy. We are very unproductive. We just have activity. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, everywhere, activity everywhere. We came back from Lagos. Some of the team members that we came back called, in the morning on Monday. And I was saying, so where are you, coach? I said, I'm in the office. There's a meeting at 7. And they were like, okay. I said, you are at Monday meeting this morning? I said, yeah. And by the time they were calling me, it was 10 a.m. I have achieved so much. I've read, I have written. I write every day. I read every day. So I have read, I have written, I have, done so much. So when I'm responding to you at about 11, I've achieved so much. And you think I'm there with you. No, I've gone. No. I've been awake since 5 a.m. Come on, I put in 5 hours of work. That's enough to actually turn you to a champion anytime, any day. So most times we actually do not, think of it. We have all the time. So all this, I don't have time. I'm a busy mom. I'm a busy dad. I don't have time to that. You actually do have time. You actually do have time. It's just that you haven't really, told yourself that there's something I need to do differently. And when people tell me, how do you have time for everything? You have time for your friends, you have time for your husband, you have time for your children, you have time for yagas. I'm like, I have time for everything that is important to me. Is it important to me? There's time. That's the way I look at it. Is it important to me? There's time. I'm here this morning because it's important and there is time to do it. So it's part of the work. So thank you again, Dr. Chimsom, for sharing with us. Dr. Chimsom, share with us, what will be your top 3 books in the inner circle?
Best book is Raising an Independent Thinking Child. Now, this will be the second time I'm reading the book, and like it just gives you insights. It teaches you how to help your children more, because sometimes we are too afraid to do some things, to let our kids do some things, because we feel, oh, they are too young, or they can't do this thing. But it kind of gives you the courage to let them try new things, to let them fail, to let them make mistakes. Like, in the inner circle, I learned that failure was actually a stepping stone. So you should actually teach your children how to get up from failure, because if you don't, they're going to have a problem. Like you always say, Coach, we are not raising our children inside our room. They're going to go outside. So you can't be somewhere and then, expect that your children will be fine when they go, when you never taught them. So you follow through on whatever you say, because you're a mentor. That's one thing I got from the book. You're a mentor. You follow through on whatever you say. Like, I said, my daughter said, I've been saying many things and I was not doing them. So as a mentor, you follow through. You say something, you do it. You don't say something you wouldn't do. So that book was it for me. Like it just did it for me. Then in the year, another book, the other 2 books that really came to me were this Bringing Up Boys and Bringing Up Girls. Now, for Bringing Up Girls, after reading it, I understood myself first. Like I told you, I'm on a journey. I understood why I was where I was, and then understood why maybe I made some mistakes growing up, and I understood how I could get to where I want to get to, because that book gave me a lot of insight. I really love that book. And to think that I was in the year last year, I did not read it. And now when I'm reading, I'm looking, asking myself, like, you've had these books for years. Why didn't you read it? Why didn't you just get what you're getting now? You could have, gone further if you had actually just committed to doing what you were supposed to do. Then Raising Boys helped me understand my son, even my husband. Some things they do that maybe would have made me upset, made me act out. I got to understand it better. So I'm grateful for my new reading habit, and I'm actually very excited about it. So those were the 3 books I love the most in the inner circle.
Amazing. Of course, you have Dr. Chimsom Ogo. Dr. Chimsom started her journey by fighting a yada who was preaching gospel. Dr. Chimsom, you not get that. We will speak about this for a very long time. And she fought her and thought, I have warned you. But she didn't know she was in for something. She said something. She said, somehow, and I found the no yelling challenge somewhere. No, a seed has been sown. That one of my favorite scriptures, I'm sure that a lot of people know that, is Paul has planted, Apollos has watered. It's only God that gives increase. And that's why, when people say, oh, I've been talking, you're talking. These seeds are being planted. The day that is going to eventually come out, you will begin to see that, oh, wow, okay, it's because somebody had already fought you somewhere. When you now saw the no, you're like, okay, let me even try it. And then when you now got in, God now increased. And today, you are now part of the hypers. Somebody said, why are they even hyping? Why are they even hyping this inner circle? I said, come in, you will become one of the hypers. You see this thing you said? You will be one of the very big apostles. You said, coach, are you serious? I said, yes. You will become an apostle. Apostle in the marketplace, shouting with microphone. She said, hey, I had a good laugh when I heard that. And thank you so much, Dr. Chimsom, for sharing your journey. Dr. Chimsom, somebody is listening to you now. And Dr. Chimsom also shared about the books, Raising the Independent Thinking Child, Raising Boys, Raising Girls. The Raising series are one of the best things, right? Of course, we're also having 3 more Raising series from the new books that I've written. Raising the Girl with Sense, Raising the Boy You Don't Need to Bail Out, Raising the Trophy Child. I think the Raising series were literally given to me to chronicle, right? And there have been, a lot of, there's also Raising the Emotionally Skilled Child. These Raising series are, when you read the books, the new Raising series, I'm sure that you might want to now put Raising the Independent Thinking Child somewhere else. But I love this book. One of the reasons I love it is because it was my journey to realizing that children are not things for you to mold. They are things for you to unfold. So it's not about molding them. It's about unfolding them. And that was, a big, thing for me. So Dr. Chimsom, people are listening to you now and they are wondering, why do I need to join the inner circle? I know it's all these things now that she has said. I even know everything. Me too. I have learned everything. I know it. I don't need the inner circle. And moreover, 100,000, that's a lot of money. I'm not going to pay no money to know people to learn no parenting. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, so I'm going to just ask them a question. Now, I'm a doctor. I'll use myself. To become a doctor, I had to go to school. I had to study. And I became a doctor. Now, remember that there was a time in medicine when nobody knew how to treat anybody. It was all trial and error. They would just try, it works. And they kept trying. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Coach? Okay. Yes. They kept trying. They were trying, and then finally they were able to bring things together, take the good ones, and make a curriculum for us to follow. So now we go to school and we study medicine based on guesswork that was put together. And then they got some evidence, did some research, and then now I'm a doctor, right? So now God put us in this world for something. He said He gave us children to be a blessing to us and for us to raise. It is actually one of the most important thing, our most important task as parents. Now, you're a lawyer, you study. You're an accountant, you went to school. So why do you think that you shouldn't actually learn how to be a parent? Because yes, I know, like we've been saying, we turned out all right, our parents did it, we do it the way our parents did, all those statements. The thing is that whether you like it or not, those are limiting beliefs. Those are beliefs that don't let you move forward. One thing about beliefs is that if you believe it, strong enough, no matter what evidence they put at you, if you don't let yourself learn to let go, it will keep pushing you. And you miss some things that you would have gained from. So if parenting is the most important thing in your life, now, at this time, remember that your children have a time. They are not going to be in your house forever. So you have a short time to actually parent them. So if it's the most important thing you need to do, so why not learn it? Why not come to a place where they picked out the good things, the bad things from the past, which our parents were doing, and then they brought it together and said, okay, do you know what? This is it. And even as they bring it together, they still refine it. Just like in medicine, there's some research they will do and say, oh, this is what we used to do, but now we've realized that this is not what it is anymore. So coach keeps refining. Like I was here at level 1 last year and I'm in level 1 again. And it's like I'm doing level 1 from the beginning for the first time. It's not the same. She keeps coming up with new things, new things and all. So she has taken the time to learn. and she has put it together and given us a curriculum. Now, I had a conversation with someone yesterday. I sent her a link to, join in, and she said, "Oh, what everybody says, these parents, there's no manual." Look, I believe, and it is my belief, you can have your own, that if I follow even half of what the things I learn in the inner circle, if I'm dedicated, if I'm consistent, I believe that I have gotten the manual. I used to be someone that was so scared of raising bad children. I had that fear. I don't know why. I don't know where I got the fear from, but I just had that fear. So maybe that's why I was aggressive. Like, I was that person that I'll beat my child, shout. People go and say, "Oh, I'll go and cry later." I don't cry. Like, I feel like that is what it's supposed to be. That's how I was. Like, this is how you cannot. The normal thing, spare the rod and spoil the child. You cannot come and spoil under my roof, So, and when you cry, I'm like, when you finish crying, you come back. Cry, no, they keep the key, that kind of. So I was there. You understand? But for me to come down and tell myself, I need to learn this thing. You may not like Coach Wendy's face. You may not like what she's saying. You may not like how she's talking, but just know that you don't have to like someone to learn from the person. You may not even agree with everything she says. That's okay. But let me tell you something. If you don't agree with something she says, you're still going to learn so many things from being in the circle. So now, we say, we say, "Oh, it's expensive." Someone told me, "Oh, it's expensive, 100K. I'm like, you're paying 250 naira. I think about that a day. What you get, it's way more than that. It's worth it. Like, see, I'm Coach's biggest hyper. This is she's saying. I carry that. If you know how many people I send this thing to, you think, why are you hyping me? All of you should come and join. It's worth it. It will change you, to change your life forever. So please do yourself that favor and learn. Thank you.
Amazing. Dr. Chimsom said, just do yourself that favor, and just so it was I think it was Pharmacist Sugonwa Enike who was saying, during her session that the problem is not for some of us, the problem is not money. The 100K is not the problem, really. So the problem is, are you sure I really this thing? Why do I need to just give somebody 100K somewhere just because she says she wants to teach me how to raise my child? But like Dr. Chimsom said, you don't really need to you don't need to agree with everything. It was Pastor. I think one of the pastors that shared my intentional parenting journey, Pastor Kelechi Chibuzo, who said, "I didn't agree with many things Coach was saying, but when I finished reading the things on Facebook, I said, let me even come inside. Shebi, see, you know the way Dr. Chimsom came. Let me even come and see what it is that she's even saying." And then he said, when he came in, then he now realized that even him like this, that he was the problem. He said, I'm the one that might not be right, though. Let me just be listening. He said, "Coach, by February, I was asking my wife, it's like we have not paid enough. I don't think we are feeling guilty. I don't think we paid enough." And that's one of the things that happened. Now, it's not because everybody say, this inner circle, are you sure that you are not hyping it? This hype, this, and you find thousands of people who hype it effortlessly. People preach inner circle. Sometimes I'm somewhere, I'm seeing somebody firing. I saw somebody on LinkedIn firing about inner circle. I was like, okay. Even me, I know they preach and reach like this. Wait till happen. You see people firing from all cylinders. It must have been that something happened to them. If nothing happened to them, there's no how much talk I can get people to on their own talk to people. There's a limit to what it is you can say to people to agree that it's until it actually benefits you. Until it transforms you. When people speak from transformation, you will see it. You don't need somebody to push you. It's just like a man who was healed. So there was a conversation, a classmate of mine who had kidney failure or something. I can't even remember. Was at the verge of death and everything. And it was him attending NSP PDC or something that healed him. And see, he tells the story. The day people came on social media and said, Pastor Jerry, you see the way he came like a wounded lion. And some Pastor Jerry doesn't know him. I was reading his post. I could see the passion. Like, how dare you? I mean, you know, this guy have been transformed by this thing. What you don't know, you know, you can't really understand it. So of course, when people are raving, inner circle this, inner circle that, you're like, what is it, sir? I beg you, all these things, are you sure? And of course, by the time it happens to you, you just keep going. And you're just going, and you know, people will be wondering, are you okay? Are you sure? But you just need to experience the transformation. When you experience the transformation, it actually changes you. And I like the way Dr. Chimsom put it, right? She said, but you know that all the things that we've been learning, it's been, you know, we've been trying to put a lot together. We've been trying, even medicine itself. And now somebody puts a curriculum and says, this is how it's going to be done. And then here we are. Someone is actually walking through this journey and saying, this is how, you know, it's going to be. People say parenting doesn't have manual. That's not true. They lied to you. There's a blueprint for every child born on earth. There's a blueprint. If you don't find it, you know that Bible scripture that you rattle, train up a child in the way you should go, and when you should go, you don't listen to yourself when you rattle it. Train up a child in the way he should go. He should. There is the way. The way. Is the not say train up the child everywhere? No, it is the way. Is the. It's very specific. The question will be, do you know the way? Do you know the way? That's the question. Shout out to you, Dr. Celestina Yusuf and Dr. Yusuf Yakub. I told you guys, we will open Inner Circle Doctors Association of Nigeria. We are getting there. As it were, we're really getting there. And if you're thinking, oh, this is, you know, all of this that they're saying, they're just saying it. They've called her to come and just talk like that. Of course, you know that most people that we have here are intelligent people. You can't just tell them to come and just talk like that. And these are people sharing real stories from their, you know, and I've never heard most of the things that Dr. Chimsom shared here today. So I'm hearing it like you're hearing it. Some of the testimonies, I don't even know about it. Sometimes I hear it, you know, somebody will say, someone shared with me about Inner Circle. Maybe I've never heard. Maybe they've shared once in the yard or something, you know. So Dr. Chimsom, as we begin to round up, what would be the last words that you tell to someone listening to you now who have been able to listen to your story and they are, you know, in the place and, you know, okay, we've listened to this story. Okay, then what next? As we conclude, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Coach. What I'll say is that even if you're still in doubt and you still don't believe this is what is for you, so what if it is? Why don't you just take a leap of faith and see if it is something that you have been lacking? You may say your kids are okay, I don't need this, I don't have problems. But the truth is that until you start to learn, you won't know whether you have problems or not. And you know, our parents parented in a different generation. We were in different generations, and the things that are chasing us are so much. In our parents' time, there was no internet. Like, if you think about it, there was no internet. It wasn't, there were no phones, they were not as rampant as they are now. So times have changed. You can't use the same templates your parents used. Yes, I'm sure that if your parents had an opportunity to learn what I'm telling you to take a bold step to learn, they would have taken it. Because the truth is that this parenting thing is not easy. It's not easy. And all of us know that we struggle one time or the other. So if somebody's going to tell you, I'm not saying that joining the Inner Circle makes it easier. Sorry, not easier, makes it now a walk in the park. No, but it helps you, you know, it points you to the right direction. It guides you so that you know, I'm doing this, I shouldn't be doing this. This can cause this. This can take me here. This can do this. So it's like a guide. That, you know, every morning, coach sends a voice note, an activity. So you're forced to actually get close to your children. You're forced to get to know them because you have to do those things. Now, someone told me, oh, I'm not a routine person. I don't like routines. I won't be able to cope. Now, like I said about beliefs, who said you're not a routine person? Have you tried it? Like, who said that? Because I was reading a book the other day and it said something about, is it Atomic Habits or what? And it said something about creating habits. It said, you want something and then you look at it from, your goal. Like you set a goal, I want to be a good parent, or maybe I want to become healthy. And then you look at it from that point of view. You're going to keep trying to become healthy, right? Let's say you're going to the gym, you keep going to the gym. Now, due to that, when you achieve that goal, you're going to, stop because there's nothing driving you. But if you can identify your belief and change it, because everything you do is going to move towards what you believe. If you believe that there's no manual, you're not going to be open to actually learn anything. So, beliefs are things that we tell ourselves that we don't have any, tangible, what they call it, evidence that is actually true. You understand? So you can tell yourself, I can't do this, there's no manual. Even when you're trying to learn, you still find yourself, going back. But if you can tell yourself, I believe there's a manual, I know I can do this, I'm going to go through the process, I'm going to become the parent I want to become so I can help my children become who they are supposed to become. That's starting from the inside, like believing first before going to achieve that goal. Like I said, from exercise, if you, instead of saying I want to be healthy, you say, okay, I'm a healthy person. And you ask yourself, how do healthy people act? You write it down, you say, okay, I'm going to start doing these things so that because I'm healthy. And with time, you start believing you're healthy. And with time, you become healthy. And now, because you don't have an end point, you're going to keep going because you didn't get to the end. So same thing with the parenting thing. If you tell yourself there's no manual, I'm just here to do my best for my children. I'm open to learning. I'm open to something challenging what I believe. So let's just go there. Then you know that there's no end point. You're going to be here and keep following till you get to you achieve. There's no achieving. You just keep learning and you keep going. So you don't get to the point where you say, oh, I'm done. I've learned everything I want to learn and I'm going away. So it's coming from an inner one, like an inner want. Let me put it that way. So you're looking at something and then you just develop that habit and you find yourself listening more, getting more things, learning more. Because if your belief is not changed, you'll be hearing something and it'll be annoying you. You'll be hearing something she's saying and you'll be getting angry. But if you know that I'm here to learn and be the best, then you're going to do anything that you have to do the best for your children. So please join the inner circle. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chimsom. This was such an amazing time with you. I really do appreciate your time. I love you. I honor you. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for joining us. And shout out to everybody that Dr. Chimsom dragged here. I could see all of you shouted out to her. Please go in the comment section, give Dr. Chimsom all of her flowers. It was so profound, the journey she had been able to, share some insight for people, even for you who is in the yard. There's a lot that you will pick from her journey to also be able to implement. That's why I love my intentional parenting journey. Dr. Chimsom, I know that your day is already getting started and we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really do not take your time for granted. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, Coach.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a nice day, Coach.
You too, ma'am. So yes, that was Dr. Chimsom Ogu, all the way from Enugu, Nigeria. And she was sharing her journey. Dr. Chimsom is a dermatologist. She is a busy mom. She has children. She is a yada. She has just chosen. Now you see this race, we're going to run it. And we're going to run it to the finish line. Paul the Apostle said, press until the end. So that's what we're here. That's what we're here, to do. That's what we're here. And, that closing part where Dr. Chimsom shared about atomic habits. Amazing. If you've ever read, of course, if you're a yada, you would have heard me talk about, atomic habits. Atomic habits 5 a.m. club. If you hear that, you hear all sorts of books and you're running. For those of us who get it, we just get it and we just run. We consume works. We consume the things that men have researched on, and we become. We become, because I usually say that what you behold, you become. What you behold, you become. If you find yourself in a circle of people where everything they are saying is, hey, parenting is overwhelming. Hey, they are sharing fear. Oh, these parents, oh, you see what happened to that boy? Everybody running kitty, kitty, kata, kata. That's how your parenting is going to be. If you're in a place where if problem comes, people are, bringing solutions. Someone is telling you, no, 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 that's it. That's it. Okay, I'm just learning from the comment section that Dr. Chimsom is a faggy babe. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's it. That's it. You just see yourself running. This is me today telling you that even if you think you know everything, Dr. Chimsom said something when she was talking. She said, after all, I knew everything. As in, I'm a doctor and I'm supposed to. Yes, you are supposed to, but you don't. Even when you do, you are not implementing it. It was Flavie from Cameroon who said, okay, you know it, you're not implementing it. So how does it now look that you know it? That means you don't know it. The sign of knowledge is that you've been able to use knowledge. So if you're not using it, then you do know it. Sometimes not using it is just the fact that you don't even have a system where you can break it down to know what it is to do with it. So, most of us will go to medical school, learn all the things about the brain and all. Can you break it down to apply it in parenting? That's the conversation. Yeah, I've been able to do that, right? Break it down to apply it in your day-to-day, every day on parenting. That's the most important part, all right? And this is, so interesting that you now be looking at the thing that you saw, and it's so big, and you've learned it in psychology, you've learned it in engineering. Funny enough, you don't know that this can be applied in the things that you do with your children. How? And boom, someone comes, puts it in place, gives it to you, and says, this is something that can be done. Now, the concept of being able to learn math is actually things that you learn in engineering school, but can you break it down to get your children to actually become math gurus? There's something that we say in the inner circle. You don't need a math teacher to raise a math guru. And quote me, put my name on it anytime, any day. You don't need a math teacher to raise a math guru. There are principles of mathematics. You don't teach maths by more maths. You teach maths by teaching the principles that you need, the basics. And once you are able to get it, your child flies, and it becomes one of the simplest things that can be done. These are all principles. These are the things that have been done. Studies, research have been done. I usually say that anything I tell you, go and research about it. Don't believe me first. Go and research about it. When you research, then come back, and then we can now be, talking about it. I remember when we started talking about screen time. 6 years ago, I started talking about screen time addiction. In fact, I wrote a book called Screen Time Addiction, How Much is Too Much? People said, what are you talking about? I'm talking about 7 years ago. What am I talking? 7 years ago was one of the first guides that we wrote. Well, like, what are you talking about? Screen time, it's good. People are 200 are learning. I said in that book, as far back as then, that we're going to begin to have children autistic that are induced by the screen. A lot of people said, and all of that. It was a new research was just coming in. Right now, we're not having autism, screen-induced autism. It's not rampant. We're not diagnosing it. We're not talking about it. But, sometimes God actually, I usually will say that God brings a man to actually run on a particular mountain for us to build something that follows. So, run into the ark, like we say. The inner circle, we call it the ark. It was Coach Ebuka that said, I was revealed to me that the inner circle is the ark. So, of course, all of us now talk about inner circle being the ark. That's how it started. So, run into a system that's going to hold you accountable, even if you know everything. Let there be somewhere that says to you, stop when you need to stop. Let there be someone that says to you, no, go right when you are going to go left. Dr. Chimsom said, I would have made a very big mistake if I didn't listen to just one webinar. I listened to it, and the decision of my life was turned around. You're a product of the mistakes that you make, and you will make mistakes without structures, they will crumble. If you make mistakes, if you make decisions without structures, they will crumble. What decisions are you making? What structures are in place? For a token of 100,000 naira per year, yes, it's a token. because every day, every month, you pay less than 10K. Most of us will spend 20 something K on pizza, right? On shawarma. That doesn't even help your life. Those things, I will rarely eat them, right? That doesn't help your life. It doesn't even give you popping skin like mine, right? It doesn't help your life. It doesn't do anything for you in the real sense of it. Okay. So when you break it down, you begin to see that it's not the money that is the problem. It is just that we have not really placed value. When you place value, then you will find out that this is a need of the hour. And as far as I'm concerned, this is highly, extremely discounted. One thing that the inner circle is going to do to you is to show you how to pay for what is important. You know, yesterday I was still teaching a mentee of mine, and I said, stop consuming free things. Free things are time wasters. They waste your time because they are not structured to give you, to take you where it is that you're going. So you see that consumption of free things, they can actually be a time waster if you're not careful. So it can be wasting your time more than it's actually giving you. So you're learning, that's why people who consume a lot free everywhere, and you're everywhere. You actually find out you're in 10 WhatsApp groups, parenting groups, they are free. They are free, everything. Oh, free. I know I'm learning it for free. What they are teaching me, it might actually be your own, it might really do a disservice to you more than it will help you. Pay so that you can pay attention to your journey. My name is Wendy Ologi, and I'm called Africa's #1 parent coach. No, scratch that. Your most number one parent coach, effortlessly, everywhere you go. If you find another person, please bring them to me. All righty. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for actually joining us. Where EST said the only thing we pay in the inner circle is attention. 100K is just acceptance fee. That's it. That's it. You just pay acceptance fee. I like that. And get it. See you tomorrow. Monday. Tomorrow is Saturday. See you Monday at 8 o'clock, where we will join another beautiful, amazing yada on my intentional parenting journey. And if you are here, you haven't pre-ordered my 4-in-1 book, do that already. It's going 5-in-1. It's going to save your life. And we're reading those books in the inner circle. Remember, that's one thing that we're also doing. And also remember that Benin, we're coming to Benin. 1 week from now, we'll be in Benin. Benin. Yes, we're going to be in Benin 1 week from now. Are you ready? Are you ready to be in Benin? Yes, these are the details on my screen. We're coming with the whole squad in Benin. Do not miss it. We're also coming to the UK. We're coming to the UK, and these are the details of being in the UK. Scan the code, send the chat. I will send you the details of the UK. Do not miss any of these events if you are in this location. And no, we don't stream them online. No, we don't stream them online. They are not online enabled, right? They are not online enabled. Don't forget that the inner circle is one of the best things, one of the best things that can happen to you. And remember that you would need to be there for you to actually gain what it is and be able to find life in it. I am particularly so excited. I am looking forward to being your coach in no time. Don't miss being in the yard. It will change your life. Shout out to you, Dr. Happiness is Twerking. Shout out to you, Molara of Benin. George, he's not Omolara the George of Benin. Shout out to you. And of course, George, I see you, ma'am. Shout out to you. George is always here every day. When people say I am busy, I smile. I'm sure that we don't know the people who log in here every day just to listen, right, to my intentional parenting, even be in the yard. Shout out to all of you. I see you, Professor Christy Swecken. I see you, Ronke. Ronke is one of our distributors in Lagos. You want to get our books. She's right there. I see you, Queen Mother and Tietima. I see you, where ST. I see you, Vera. I see you, Esther, maybe, Mercy, Deborah, Ami Great. Shout out to all of you. I see you on Nome. I see all of you. See you guys on Monday. And for Yadas, I see you, Dr. Joy Nafisa. I've said it. I see you, Dr. Aisha. I said it, you guys should just open, let's come and open Doctors Association of Nigeria inside this inner circle. You guys are overwhelming us. You guys are giving us a run for our careers. It's okay. All righty. Thank you, everybody, and see you on Monday. And for others, see you right in the yard.